are listening to the Lose Weight for the Last Time podcast with me, Laura Conley. This episode is such a juicy one. It's with my client, Julianne. I'm interviewing her, and you're going to be so inspired by her story. So I'll hurry up and get you to that interview. But before I do, I want to let you know that we have 2 podcasts now. So in case you haven't heard, in case you missed it, there is the Lose Weight for the Last Time podcast and then the Free the Moms podcast. So this is the feed for all things weight loss, mindset in regards to weight loss, peptides in regards to weight loss, emotional regulation, nervous system support in terms of weight loss, all things weight loss related. You are going to love this episode. And if you get really inspired by Julianne, you're going to want to go to lauraconley.com and book a call because the May Yummy Mommy Experience cohort is already starting to fill. I'm so excited. And if you want things free the moms, like ending people pleasing and breaking up with perfectionism and really loving your life, being a free mom, go check out the Free the Moms podcast. We're dropping episodes over there every other week. And we're dropping episodes over here every other week with some bonus episodes in between. So I hope you guys are loving this new setup. I know that I am. Enjoy this interview with Julianne. She's so inspiring to me. She's just a dreamboat. She's a sparkly, sparkly, beautiful, beautiful human. You're going to love her story. Julianne, kick us off with a little introduction of who you are, where you live, and what brought you to the Yummy Mummy. Like, tell us your story. How did we get connected? And then what made you kind of decide to take the plunge and actually sign up for the Yummy Mummy experience?
Well, thank you for having me and thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it very much. My name is Julianne. I live in Oregon. I actually live right on the coast, literally like right out my door.
Oh my God.
It's a beautiful place to live. I have 2 kids that are adults now and divorced. I was married for 28 years and I've been divorced for about 10 months. So very new in that reality. I am a child welfare caseworker, so I do a lot of hard stuff in my job, but also extremely rewarding. And I pretty much done social work for my career.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I discovered you through your podcast, actually. I've told you this story many times, but I feel like it was during COVID, but I never looked it up to see if that was actually when I started listening to you. But I just discovered you on this period of time where I walked all the time and I started to realize how therapeutic that was. And so I was just kind of looking for different podcasts. You were a guest on one of my regular podcasts that I listened to. And I remember you discussed your business, but you also talked about your own journey with body and weight loss. And something about that really resonated with me. So then I looked up you and your podcast and started listening to all the episodes. And I did that for a while. I felt it was years. And I was just convinced that was going to be the way that I was going to figure out all of my issues because all of the information you were giving was so helpful to me and resonated and just seemed like a different approach than anything I'd ever heard of. Fast forward to this year when a lot of things started changing in my life and it was difficult, but it was also exciting and a time of transformation. And I just literally one day was just thinking about my journey, what I wanted to do. And a friend of mine had suggested going back to therapy. I'd been in therapy many times. I'd loved therapy, but for some reason it popped into my head that coaching might be a better experience for me because I really like the group setting and having community. And so I still remember I was walking across my office back to my desk and this thought just like popped into my head. You need to sign up for the Yummy Mommy experience. Like, this is your opportunity. You are independent now. You can make the decision. You don't have to ask for me, which sounds ridiculous, but yeah. So the timing was perfect. I remember that day. I knew it and I did it and I cried after I said the hit on the sign up. And it has
Oh,
proved to be perfect timing for the community,
oh,
all of it.
oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I love when like that intuitive hit just hits
Yeah.
you and you're like,
Hmm.
oh, this is what I have to do. Good job listening to that because I think that's the way. I think that's the path. I think that's the strategy is listening to those intuitive hits. And I know that's a huge part of what I'm working on personally right now is like tripling down, 10xing down on my own inner knowing because we really do have all the answers inside. I mean, yes, we need community. Yes, we need connection. Yes, we might need coaches, but like we ultimately know. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what your struggle was like, what the trap of not being in a body that felt like yours or a body that maybe you didn't love. Like, tell us about beforeness.
Yeah, like why was I attracted to your podcast and a lot of
Yeah.
other podcasts about that?
What was your specific flavor of struggle? Like, what was it
Hmm.
like before coming into the Yummy Mummy experience?
It's a really good question. I could answer it many ways, but I think the most what resonates with me right now would be that the struggle was just being stuck in a cycle that
Mm,
was not working, but instead of changing the cycle or going deeper, I just continued to think that the answer was somewhere out there. And
mm,
if I found the perfect program or the perfect philosophy or the perfect approach, then that would finally work. But at the same time that I thought the answer was out there, I also believed very deeply that I was not capable of doing it. I didn't
mm,
really realize that until now, but I think the struggle was pretty much I couldn't stick to anything, and that was my story. And so I would get really excited about a new idea, a new nutritional, approach or diet or whatever you want to call it. I would have all this hope. Of course, I would be planning for the next Monday when I would start. And then inevitably, I would either completely just quit or maybe something would interrupt whatever that program called for. And then the rest of the cycle would play out, which is the self deprecation. Here we go again. It's just the way it is for me. Like I'm just not self disciplined. And so it would just
mm,
reinforce. It would go around the cycle and it would just reinforce that I am not capable, that it's me not being disciplined or
mm,
good enough. I don't know. There was a lot of stuff down there that I didn't really know was
mm.
there.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
that.
I think that was pretty much the main struggle with reinforcing a negative and then always thinking something would come along eventually would
Mm-hmm.
work.
Oh, yeah, that's so well said because I think so many of us find ourselves in that cycle and we think, just do it better, just muster up
Hmm.
more will. And then we
Yeah.
can't. And then we make it mean that we're failures. And it's
Hmm.
just not true. It's just we haven't been taught how to actually lose weight for the last time. It's
Right.
so, so well said.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, how did you try? I mean, you kind of alluded to it just now, but like, how did you try to lose weight in the past? Like, what were the craziest things you've done? I'm sure you've done so many of the things I did too.
Yeah. It really did evolve over time. I mean, I didn't really diet until after I had my first child. I definitely had body image issues prior to that, but I never was in a position where I actually thought, oh, I'm overweight, but my body changed, like usually happens. And I think I was turning to food more as a comfort, just something easy to give me some dopamine, having I was newborn and being stressed about that. So it was at first it was things like Weight Watchers and there was some older ones like the Zone Diet. I don't know if you've ever heard of that,
Oh,
but
yes. I remember that one.
yeah, a lot of counting, a lot of meal prep, just really kind of unrealistic looking back on it now.
Mm.
I did have some success with Weight Watchers, but the interesting thing is when I went back to try to do that again after my second child, it did not. sick. I could not do it. And then I thought it was me. I thought it was that I was undisciplined. And yeah, I think basically I was looking for the answer. Like I said before, I was always coming from a place of this imbalance of a relationship with food. And like at first it was just feeling like I ate too much or I didn't have discipline. But then it slowly over time evolved into, I really believed that I was a sugar addict. Like I would call myself that. Those were some of the other programs that I did. There was a Break Up with Sugar, the book, and a whole community. And, I'm sure in a lot of ways it's really helpful for people, but it was very like black and white. Like you cannot have sugar because you are an addict. And if you even look at it, so that became a really big focus of mine too. I focused specifically on that food group or that type of food.
Yeah.
And it seemed like the more I thought that was the culprit, and if I just could figure out how to quit that, then all my other problems would go away. But the problem is I didn't know how to approach that. So again, crazy cycle. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think so many of us can hear ourselves in you for sure. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So tell us how much weight you lost, because I always forget to ask this question. And then the audience is like, we want to know the numbers.
I lost 24 pounds during the Yummy Mummy experience. That was about 6 months. I still can't believe it when that comes out of my mouth, because those 24 pounds or that amount of weight was like, I had weighed that. I don't even know. I can't remember the last time I weighed what I do now. So yeah, I sort of just accepted that was my new weight. Not it really. I wasn't accepting it, but I didn't think it was possible. So when I say those words, I'm still shocked.
Me too. Whoa. I was actually just on a podcast earlier today and she was asking about my story. And I was like, it actually still feels like a miracle that like I lost this weight in for the last time, because I struggled with it for so long.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So what do you think was different or unique? Like what unlocked weight loss for you? Like why did this work?
Yeah, that's going to be something that I'm going to continue to learn, I think, and understand, because there is so much depth to it. I think this program will definitely, the fact that we get to the root. There's no staying at the surface. I mean, it's like this great balance between we have a plan and we have a practical map of where we're going, but the real work that we're doing is deeper. And I think it's about rebuilding my relationship with myself, rebuilding my relationship with my emotions and my feelings. I think that one of the biggest differences, and I shared this in one of our groups, I know, was that I have developed what I feel like is a healthier relationship with pain, with struggle, with failure, with these negative emotions. Definitely in the past, I would just avoid them. And I would never have said that if you had asked me, like, do you avoid feeling negative things, or are you somebody that acknowledges your feelings? I would have said, oh yeah, absolutely. I know how I feel. I've, been in kind of therapeutic roles in different jobs that I've had where I'm encouraging other people to share their feelings and like accept all of that.
Yes.
So I did not realize how many strategies I had to avoid those feelings until I started doing and using the tools that you give us in this program. And
yeah, that was me too. I didn't even I never thought I was an emotional eater, like ever.
Right.
I never thought I even like overate. And yeah, it's so eye-opening. And it's the best invitation, because then if you are using food for, what I believe it's not for, it's actually such a great opportunity to learn how, like you're saying, to love yourself and take care of yourself, but like for real.
Right. Right. Yeah. And so I would basically say that now I view a challenging feeling, or just like a kind of a crappy day, or a little bit of weight gain, like these things that will happen, or like really deep pain and emotion based on the journey I've been on. Like all of that is now a signal to me or like a beautiful message that I'm getting that there's something for me to look at. There's something for me to maybe love myself through or just expand my understanding of. I mean, instead of it being something to avoid, it's now a sign. It's a sign to me that there's something to feel or understand, which once you do that and then you start seeing how your life changes, you want to keep doing that.
Oh, yes.
So
That's
that's, I
so
would say,
good.
the biggest difference for me in old ways and now is that, yeah, it has nothing to do with just like depriving yourself of food or starving yourself or like never
Yeah.
being able to enjoy food again. Not
Yeah.
that at all.
Totally.
So,
Totally.
yeah.
So, not that we're like big before and afters, but what is the after like or your life like now because you've done this work?
I would say, well, I mean, I'm hearing from people in my life that know me pretty well, or even coworkers that have stopped me. And it's interesting because people have very rarely said anything about the weight loss aspect, and that my kids have said it, and people. But what they do say is, "You seem different. Your aura seems." Someone just told me the other day that my aura was so bright now, which is the biggest compliment to me. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
because
know. That's freaking out
I'm
over
very
here.
woo, so
Yes, I
I
know
love
that's the
that.
biggest compliment. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And I agree. That's the other thing. Like, I don't take compliments very easily. And in the past, I would have said, oh, but you don't know this. And oh, if you really saw what I do. I mean, I would always follow up any kind of positive feedback with like, a negative or it's just weird. But I couldn't do it this time because I agree with them. Like, I'm like, yeah, it's true. My aura is much brighter. Everything's
Oh,
different. I mean, I can't even begin to describe to you how much this was transformative in my life. I mean, I have so much more compassion for myself. I mean, I'll be working the rest of my life on self acceptance, self love, all of those things. Obviously, those are just like daily commitments that I make. But I have also like really been able to make friends with like the process of things. It's not about the
oh,
end result anymore. And I still remember the day that clicked where I was like, oh, that's what she means by losing weight for the last time. She literally means like you're never done. You never finish it. So you're obviously it's the last time because you're never going to be done. And that's actually an awesome thing because
yeah,
when there's
like
this
it feels confronting when you
ending,
first hear it, but it's actually very comforting and relieving
yeah,
when you're like, oh, okay,
because
got
you
that.
want to do it. Yeah.
Yes, that's
It's
so
work
right.
that you want to do. Yeah. So I mean, it's so many things are different. And then just the more, I guess, not shallow, that's not the right word, but just the more practical things like I love going shopping for clothes now. There's like clothes that I tried not to do this very much, but I did have like some that I was saving that I wore in the past or something. And now I put
Yeah.
them on, and I'm like, oh, actually it was good. I like what I look like. Yeah, or I saw pictures of myself and I don't feel that feeling of, which is terrible. I shouldn't have ever felt that, but there's just
I'm
like,
grateful that you're
yeah.
being real with us because that's what we've all felt. We've all felt disgusted when we've seen our reflection in a picture. And it's not our fault. Again, it's like the conditioning that we get, it's like the
Mhm.
air that we breathe. It's impossible, you know? Even
Yeah.
if we were freaking Barbie, we'd still be judging. And that's
Hmm.
why, I love that you brought up the compassion piece
Yeah.
that's been something you've gotten out of this. What does that look like on a granular level? Or like, is there a specific example of what it means or what it looks like in your life for you to be more compassionate with you?
Just a question. Like, I think I might be kind of repeating myself, but basically, there was a cycle going on in my life that it showed up like in small ways and then in bigger ways. And what was happening was I was starting with a feeling of inadequacy or just
Mm,
basically like I often felt like everyone else had it figured out and I was sort of on the outside looking in. And felt that for a lot of my life. And so when it came to body image and diet and all of that, food, I felt that way too. I felt like for some reason everybody else can figure it out eventually, or, just that outsider feeling.
Yes.
And so when I started to practice more self-compassion, and like one of the things that you teach, looking back with love, is like one of my most treasured tools. It sounds simple, but when you actually start doing it, you recognize like what you're conditioned to usually do is like look back with hatred or
Yeah.
criticism,
Yeah.
and to actually say, give yourself that compassion and that patience and that forgiveness. So I would say it's like on a granular level, that cycle is now, instead of self-deprecation and all of those pieces of the cycle, it's now like it's there's tools there to rebuild. And so basically that whole system is crumbled. Like it doesn't work anymore because I've replaced those pieces with just curiosity, And I'm not trying to say that every day, every minute, I'm like, oh, I'm so great. And no, I still have a lot of that self, criticism, and I'm hard on myself, but I recognize it now. I see
Yeah.
it. And also I've mentioned too, like a big part of this for me is what's been going on in my life as,
Mm.
other than just weight loss, and how this program has like been parallel kind of with the work that I've done on grieving my marriage and moving on with my life at like this time in my life, like all the big ones, like this is fit right into that. Even
Mm-hmm.
my spiritual journey. Like I remember telling you maybe in an email that so much of what you were teaching or talking about, even though it sounded, like this is what to do if you go off your protocol,
Yeah.
it was like the same concept that I was meditating on that morning, like in my Buddhist practice, like seriously.
Yeah.
So
No, it's
it was
so true.
crazy, like how it all ran together and like supported each other. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I feel like at least I try to offer this work in like such practical, simple verbiage and ways, because the same was true for me. I was like, I still am, but like so immersed in like the yoga and meditation world for so long. And it wasn't until I really learned more about coaching that it really sunk in that some of the concepts that I was learning in the yogic traditions weren't landing fully until,
Yeah.
I got different language for it. So,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, that's super, super helpful. So, what are some of, and you may have already touched on them, but what are some of like the biggest takeaways that you've gotten from the Yummy Mummy experience?
Well, definitely what I was saying earlier with like looking back with love. You
Oh,
can't
yeah.
beat yourself down. You can't
Yeah.
just like, yeah, any amount of like rejection of yourself in the hopes that's going to motivate you, or me,
Yeah.
motivate me to do it. So that's a huge takeaway. That just doesn't work. Also, being more and more aware of my thoughts, watching
Mm,
them closely, and then recognizing that there's a space between the two that I can choose whether or not I continue to feed that thought or connect to it, or whether I just let it go. That's a huge takeaway. That's very powerful, and just maintaining a sense of peace and getting to your goal. Also,
yes.
just the practical, like I did quit sugar and flour during this program, which still is like a miracle to me. And I think that has taught me that when you set yourself up for success and kind of follow the wisdom of why we're even doing that, which was the idea of like balancing your hunger hormone, it's such a practical step to do that rather than trying to like do the cabbage soup diet. And then I would just kind of try to like do these things without really knowing what was going on in my body and why I was so
Oh,
starving after I just eaten. And so I learned a lot of practical steps that way too. Or, I learned how to do it, how to lose
yeah.
weight, how to listen to my body. I had no
Oh,
idea before. No,
yeah.
even though
It's
I
so
owned like a million
confusing.
books. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so confusing.
Yeah.
Well, and then we outsource the answers to the external when really the answers are internal, but we don't know
Hmm.
how to access them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good.
Totally.
Okay, one of my favorite questions ever is how would you describe the Yummy Mummy experience in one word?
I thought about that a lot because I saw that it was on the list of questions. And at first I was like, there's no way it's impossible. And then I said, it's not impossible. And the word that I would say is love.
Oh,
You are so like unapologetically loving. Not that you should apologize, but like I think in this culture, and there's just something I think sometimes we do apologize for that. You know, like when you would say, like, I love you guys, it wasn't just, I love you, you know,
yeah.
you were saying it, and this is what I took from it, was you're modeling B's power in self-love and
Mm,
unconditional love and acceptance, which is the atmosphere of the whole program and the whole, you know, community.
yes.
And so, which is contagious. And I feel like
Mm,
when we all want that, right? And so what you did is kind of
mm,
introduce this alternative way of looking at ourselves and approaching challenges through love and
yes.
compassion. And then that's how you coach too. Like they're super, the coaching is very real and very practical and useful, but there's always this message of unconditional love and no judgment. So, yeah. And that's everything to me. It's
Oh my
so
gosh.
interesting. It's like you can actually have a flaw or like be not perfect, but still be worthy of unconditional love.
Mm,
So, yeah. And I'm sure
ooh,
you saw me. I mean, I apologize all the time for the most ridiculous thing, but I still do it. But I'm so much more aware of it now after being in the Yummy Mom
yeah.
that I'll just say I'm sorry for like existing. Or like I'll talk and then be like, I'm sorry, that probably didn't make any sense. Like, and I don't think I
Mm.
said that once in this podcast. So,
No, you haven't. Good job. Oh my
and that was
gosh.
your love, your loving energy. Really?
We got to put you on a I'm sorry diet, Julianne.
Absolutely.
Can't say
Yeah.
that word anymore. One hack I like for sorry is like if you're weaning yourself off of that word is like thank you. Cause like I'll default to it too. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry we have to reschedule. Like I was just rescheduling something.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, oh my God, thank you so much for being willing to reschedule. You
Yeah.
know?
You're acknowledging the
Yeah.
person, but you're
Uh,
not putting yourself down in the process or,
yeah.
yeah. I know that I learned it as a child because I was very sensitive and very aware of the energy in my home, but I didn't know how to interpret it. Like kids never really do, right? So unfortunately, a lot of the silence and the kind of tension and things that I sent with the adults in the home, I took on as, for some reason, I personalized it. And so
Of course.
right, I've learned through my
Yeah.
life that if I apologize or say I'm sorry, there's this feeling of safety in that for me because I'm
Mm.
acknowledging before you can that
Yeah.
I made a mistake or that I am a mistake. So yeah, there's been a lot of
So
work
sad.
around shame and
Yeah.
those deeper beliefs that have
Yeah.
come out through forming the
Oh.
program. Yeah.
Okay, so talk to us a little bit about like deciding to sign up for the Yummy Mummy. It sounds like you got an intuitive hit. I love that story. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that story because you signed up like out of the blue. It was so fun. Rose and I were like so excited. I remember exactly where I was.
All right.
I was at the airport in Orange County and I was like, "Yes, Julianne." So I wonder like would you have it sounds like this was divine timing and it all unfolded perfectly, but like was there anything you would have wished somebody would have said when you were deciding whether or not to sign up, or how did you get over the cost if that was a barrier? Talk to us a little bit about that process, because I know so many women will hang out on the fence or not even allow themselves to even give themselves the choice to sign up because it's too expensive or because they don't feel like they deserve it or for whatever reason. So just Share with us what that was like for you.
I absolutely believe that I didn't deserve it. And mostly
Mm,
because I had failed so many times in terms of, in my mind at that point, I had failed so many times, trying so many diets. I had spent significant amounts of money on like books and other programs. I remember one now that I didn't mention before, but it was like an herbal something or other.
mm.
And like you drank this drink and then you fasted for, it was a horrible. Like I actually think that I actually threw up like the first time I drank this stuff.
Oh
My,
my
my
God.
point is why I brought that up is because it was kind of expensive. And in my
Yes.
mind, what is, I mean, it's all relative, but
Yes.
yeah. So I had definitely was carrying guilt and shame about that. And then definitely between my then husband and I, there was a, you know, I'm not saying that he wouldn't have let me do it because it really wasn't up to him, but there was definitely, I was dreading that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't even try. I
Yeah.
just decided that my way was going to be just to get all the information from the podcast.
Yeah.
But I wish somebody, if someone had been able to tell me or show me the future and I could see it,
Oh,
the cost was nothing compared to what I've gotten. And I have like Google issues. Like I've never been wealthy, but I can't quite, unless I need it, is it really,
mm,
and so that's really
oh,
helped me recognize that worth, the worth that the cost and the worth and what you put on is sometimes very limiting. And that just, if nothing else, you know, the idea that you're investing in yourself too. If somebody
mm,
has said to me, regardless of whether or not it works or whatever the result is, just the act of following your intuition, like knowing, I
mm,
knew for so long that there was something special and different about this approach, about your approach. And I just didn't listen to it fully. I didn't believe myself or I didn't let that be the guide. And I
mm,
think there was something about that timing where I had, was experiencing this newfound kind of independence. And it was when I realized like nobody else had to stay in this but
mm.
me. And nobody
Oh.
else really did anyway. But I apologize about
Yeah. Well, our husbands can actually be a great person to hide behind. Like,
mm-hmm.
I'll blame my husband for
Yeah.
all kinds of things that he would never block me from. Like, it's so
Yeah.
interesting. The other day he goes to me, "Get out of the chrysalis, Laura." And I was like, "Oh, I was just going to hide behind you for the next couple of years because it's all safe
Mm-hmm.
and cozy and gooey in my chrysalis." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Let's go. You can't use me." So
I love that.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
so interesting because I think a lot of women are like, "I don't want to have the conversation with my husband. I'm too scared." And it's like 90% of the time, like I cannot tell you how many clients come to me and say like, "Oh, my husband's actually so supportive. I was so surprised." But
Mm-hmm.
we're
Yeah.
scared. So then we use them as an excuse. We're scared we're going to fail and then make it
Yeah.
mean something. And I mean, the reality is you're just not going to fail. Like I mean, that's why I have a guarantee because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, come on, like anything I can do to help a listener get over that line, I'm willing to do, bringing it back to my husband.
Well,
He's like, "You should not have a guarantee. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "No, I will never not have a guarantee because I want to show the women like how much I believe in them and this program and they're not broken. And it doesn't matter how many times they failed, like this works."
yeah. Yeah. You just made me think of another like huge takeaway that
Yeah.
have gotten from this, which is accountability. Like
Mm,
again, another concept that I think I kind of thought I always knew what that was. And I'm not a victim. Like I don't look at myself that way. I take this talk, which in some ways I was, but there were so many different areas like this one in my life
mm,
that I wasn't really being fully accountable. I was hiding behind the finances or the
mm,
lack of support or just
mm.
the belief that, if there's,
Yeah.
is it, yeah. And now I realize that full accountability, like really recognizing how you are your own barrier to your own joy and your own peace, that is the biggest game changer. Like when you really fully see it, then you can't unsee it anymore. And even though I think it was one of the scariest things for me, because the idea of fully taking responsibility would mean then that I would have to do it. I would have to, all that fear. But really what was behind it was that feeling of inadequacy, I think. Like, that's just who I am. So what, anyway, that has really been transformed during this process, because in order for it to work, you really do. I mean, there's no other way. Like every barrier, everything that happened, you put it back on us and you say, like, well, what do you think? You know, which is extremely powerful. Yeah. My ex-husband has been so supportive. I didn't go and tell him I was doing this, but he's one of the people that is like, you look so different and feel different. Like, yeah. So, and I told him why I was so hesitant, and he validated that because he remembers like that struggle that we had, and sometimes because he seems to have us no issues with food or weight. He can eat whatever, like he's always been thin, all that. I would always say that to him, like, you just don't understand, like all those dynamics that were there. We are now able to really reflect on those and see how the communication was breaking down. And well, that's been healing too.
God, that's a gift. Total gift.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you was like, what was the game changer between just listening to the podcast and consuming the information versus being in the program? Like, what made the difference? It sounds like accountability was part of it.
Yeah, accountability, just, I think, taking that step and investing in yourself.
Yeah, there's so much transformation in just signing up. Like, I meant to say that when you were talking a minute ago. Like, so much transformation, because you've now declared to the universe or God or yourself or whoever that you are worth it, or you're at least experimenting with being worth it. And it is like you kind of are putting a stake in the ground. I mean, like, and it calls you up. It calls you forward.
Yeah. Some part of you believes that it's possible, and you're allowing that part of you to step out into the light. Also, just a huge difference. And I would love for anyone to hear this who was like me. And I don't want to like minimize just listening to the podcast, because you give away so much valuable information. I mean, it's so clear that your mission, is a heartfelt desire. And that's one thing I was going to say too, is the amount of information, the amount of quality coaching, the use of the time, all of it is so completely solid. There's just so much. So when you do the program, you get all of that, plus the community. You have this like community of people that have the same desire, but everybody has a different path. And so then every time somebody speaks and shares, part of what would happen to me was I'd be validated and I'd feel like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not. But then I would share things from a different perspective or somebody else's thought. It was like constant, just like nuggets of gold just coming into my and I don't want to say that, you could triple the price and it still wouldn't be like, there's no way you can put a price on this, is what I'm trying to say. So I am so grateful that I did it. But if nothing else says it, I didn't lose any weight. And it's not because the information wasn't amazing. It was because I think I didn't fully understand the subtlety. I mean, like, I understood the concept of looking back with love. I understood the concept of making a protocol or not eating sugar, but I wasn't getting at the root and changing me. Yeah. So it was just more really great, inspiring information that I was putting on top of all of this. Like,
yes.
So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Julianne, this is so good. Okay. Did you have a favorite moment inside our 6 months together?
That one was really lost for me too. I mean, our last session where we gave each other feedback and stuff, I loved that. Hearing other people like takeaways and that kind of thing. Yeah. And then the feedback that I got.
Not feedback, celebrations.
Celebration.
You were going to give you feedback on the last call about how you sucked. No.
No, not feedback. Sorry.
No,
celebrations, appreciation.
It is feedback. You're right. It's feedback. I think I have PTSD from that word or something from corporate America.
That word doesn't usually imply positive. And I'm going to say, I still remember the person that picked me as her. Like, we all had to pick one person, which was kind of mean for us. We all wanted to pick all of us. Anyway, one of my fellow community members, YMXers, picked me and said why. And that was huge. I mean, I know that sounds like, oh, my ego, but I admire her so much. And she was one of the few people I think that was older than me in the group, which doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like, she was at, beyond where I am in my life, kind of, and I just was always so inspired by her. And then what she said.
What did she say?
It's like, what did she say? Right into my heart. She said that something about how when I would speak, she would always wish that she had the level of wisdom that I had, or something like that. And I just remember going, what? Which is one of those moments where you realize what you think about yourself and how you see yourself.
Complete lie.
Yeah. And I mean, at least be aware of that, right? So even if you don't go around and ask everybody, like, how do you see me? No. But just remember that you're probably painting a picture that's not accurate.
Yeah. And I remember that moment too, because I would totally reflect that back to you as well. And I think everybody, every time you spoke on our calls, like everyone would hang on to every word you had to say. And I know you didn't see that in yourself. So that's the power. That's one of the many reasons why being in a group is so powerful, is you can start to borrow other people's belief in you for you. Yeah. Like, you can now be like, well, maybe she is right. Maybe I am wise beyond my years. Like, I say all the time, it's like, it's all delusional. It's all like, who knows?
We're all making it up. So we might as well make up something beautiful, right?
Exactly.
Why not?
That's so good.
But we're taught to not. We're taught to be small. We're taught to be quiet. We're taught to not take up space.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then the fact that you invited me to come on here was such a full circle moment too, because of how much I love your podcast. It means so much to me. And then the fact that I was always afraid to talk in the group. And that's what this is.
Yeah.
I've just been talking. So I don't know if you did that on purpose, but.
No, I just genuinely wanted to have you on the podcast. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I knew it was going to be like a personal growth opportunity for you too, because I know you probably have to get out of your own way. But what's so interesting? I was at a event this past weekend, and this woman was speaking on stage, Jasmine Starr, and she said people kept thanking me out in the hallway. And she said, I think what they were really thanking me for, I think what they were really saying was, hey, I'm so grateful you got out of your own way so that I could hear the message that I needed to hear from you. And so I just want to reflect that back to you, Julianne, because I know you said so many things throughout our 6 months that helped and healed other participants, other yummy mummies. And you're doing that now on the podcast as well.
Yeah, I think it's a really big, important part of growth is to accept that, love is a circle. And so like giving it and receiving it are pretty much the same energy, the same cycle or whatever. But a lot of times we think giving it or being the person that's showering the compliment and obviously noticing everyone else's strengths or doing things for other people, but receiving it somehow means that we're, challenges those parts of us that don't think we're worthy. But if you're cutting yourself off from that other part, which is willingness to get out of your own way, to receive the compliment or see yourself as worthy of also giving wisdom, you're just like missing out on half of what's supposed to be going on. Does that make sense? It's like the same saying. It's just a different part of that cycle. Yeah. So,
ooh, yeah. And now we're getting into a whole nother podcast, but I love it because it's like, if you don't receive the love that's being given to you, like that sucks for the giver.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's so fun when somebody receives like truly receives it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so fun.
Like this compliment, you're able to say thank you and without apology. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I just was complimenting these two women at this event. They both had really cool outfits. And I was like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with your outfits. And they were like, oh my God, thank you. And then we just had this whole, instead of them being like, yeah, but, oh, and I kind of look weird and this, and that, they were like, I know, aren't they so cool? And like, it just raised the vibration, you know? And then we ended up having this great conversation because of it. Okay, let's wrap it up, Julianne. Let's end with, if you had to describe yourself with one word, like how you felt in one word before and how you feel in one word now, what would those words be?
One word. Well, I would say inadequate before. Inadequate, broken, that kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah, whichever word you like better. And then for how I feel now, I feel complete. And I don't mean that in the way, and I hesitated to use that word because I don't mean that as if I have nothing else to learn or no, but I'm starting now from the place of completeness. Like within me
Wholeness,
is everything I need. Wholeness. Thank you. Yeah.
No, it could be, I like complete.
Yeah.
I like complete because I know exactly what you
before.
meant is like, we're still going to be on this personal growth journey for forever, but complete, whole, like, oh God, that's what so many of us want so badly. And you get to give it to yourself. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, good job, Julianne. Well, you know, I
Thank
always
you.
say it. You friggin' did this.
I
was just here. I was just here in my chair inviting you in, but you did the work. You're the one. Again, it's like what I'm always talking about. It's like so cool that we get to like live in a world where we're willing to do this work, because sometimes it's uncomfortable because the ripple is so real and so powerful, and it vibrates so much farther than we can even fathom.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you overcome something that you don't believe you can, it changes your life as well as everyone that you touch. So,
oh my gosh.
Good on you for bringing this book.
No, you, Julianne. Thank you so much for coming to the podcast. I absolutely love you. Anything else you want to say before we end?
No, I wish I could just like spend a few minutes talking about you, but I really do want to thank you very much. Like not in a cheesy way. This can be cheesy, but yeah, thank you so much for everything that you do. And I'm so grateful that I'm continuing the journey.
Well, you're welcome.
Me this opportunity.
Yeah. You're so welcome. I feel so grateful that like I get to do this work. Like it doesn't even feel like work. It feels like a total gift and a calling. It's not even an option. Like I have to do this, you know?
Right.
Which is so great.
It's inspiring too. So
I love that. Okay, you guys, I hope you all have the absolute best week ever. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Julianne. I know you've inspired magic to spark inside someone out there. So thank you. I love you. And I hope you guys, again, have the best week ever. Ciao, ciao. Hey guys, isn't Julianne fab? What resonated with you? I would love to hear. And remember, if you want to lose weight for the last time and love your life for the first time in a long time, go to lauraconley.com and book a call. That is your first step to getting your booty in the Yummy Mummy Experience May 2026 cohort. I'll see you inside. Love you guys so much. Have the best week ever. Ciao, ciao.